how many seasons were you on the show? 6?
At least 6, yeah.
Okay. Is there something that you learned from being on the show?
Is there something I learned from being on the show? Honestly, I'm going to be honest and say this, no. And I think it's because of the life that I've led. I went on the show to have fun. And if I needed to fight with someone because I wanted to fight with them, I fought with them. If I was going out for dinner with them and I just had fun, I didn't take anything personal. I didn't get emotional about it. I don't think of things that way. So I didn't learn. I loved it. I loved it, Rachel. I loved it. Nothing fazed me. Like even when Joe's calling me these filthy, filthy names, look what happened. I said, you're a little midget. I played with the big boys and I got the most money the next season. My book is called My Life with the Big Boys. I mean, look what it did for me. And that I didn't even know that was coming out. I had never said that before in my life. That just blurted out of my mouth.
So you would do it again, obviously.
1000%. 1000%.
And you said earlier that you love the Housewives franchises in general. What's your favorite one and who's your favorite cast member?
I'm going to say Beverly Hills. And at one point it was Lisa Rinna. I got a kick out of her. And I think right now, and I think Erica Jane was right there with her. I'm going to say right now, Erica Jane. She's my favorite. I met her at her book signing too. She's fabulous. I love her. I love everything about her. I loved when she said, I'm going to give up arguing with you girls for Lent. Like that, she's a lover. I just love her.
Right. What do you think about the new cast that they announced? Is it Meg Tilly that they announced is coming on?
I think some of them are going to do well. Some of them aren't. I love Dorit. I get a kick out of Dorit. I love the way she speaks. I don't like, oh my God, what's her name? I don't like one of them at all. I can't think she's like always the race card. I can't even think of her friggin' name because I guess I try to block it out. I don't like people who do that. Kyle, I think is the staple. Kathy, it always brings good TV. Kathy Hilton. Am I a big fan of her? No, because I don't like what she did to her daughter at a young age. Listen, I think this is going to be interesting cast. I did like it best when Lisa Rinna was on with Dorit, with Erica Jane, but I go with the flow. Meg Tilly, I don't see it. I think she's very sweet, I think Sutton's funny. I get a kick out of Sutton.
I like Sutton.
So I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm curious about your thoughts on Kim Zolciak and her drama always. And I saw that right now she's filming a reality show. So she got herself some money and got herself back in TV. Do you have a feeling about her? Do you know her? Have you ever met her?
Have never met her. I'm sad for her because I do believe that this guy she married really loved her and he gave up his family for her. And I think that money rules her situation. And I have a shopping addiction. I love to shop. I mean, I'm going to admit it. I love to shop. Her addiction goes a little bit further than anything I could ever think of. And I think that that's what caused most of the situation between the two of them. And I think he was just a real down home, nice guy and got wrapped up in listen, I hate the word narcissist. I hate it. But I think she's just, me. I think she's all about me. And she had all these kids. And now what are you going to do? Like the two of them are fighting so bad that the kids are calling the police. I'm sad.
She seems a little bit addicted to getting the press or getting the public's involvement. I mean, the fact that she's constantly posting weird things, it seems a little unhinged. And you would think that you would want that to be private because it is pretty embarrassing, the back and forth between them.
Her daughters, I know her older daughter was mortified over certain things that she was doing. Not the oldest, the one, I'm not familiar. Like I know their names, but I forget. But the one that's like her two other daughters, not the older one.
Not
Brielle, the other one. I know she came out on an Instagram and was mortified by something that her mama did to Croy. Yeah. So no one's happy with this. No one's happy with this.
Okay, and then finally about this Housewives stuff, do you have any predictions that we don't know about that we would find interesting about what's going to happen next season, if there is going to be a next season? Any storylines you see that people don't know about?
I think, well, first of all, I'm going to tell you this. Every single one of the casts, and I know them all, were completely sideswiped and shocked over the fact that they're not getting a reunion. They shot themselves in the foot, all of them. They played their cards. No one's bigger than Bravo. You're not bigger than Sirens. They were warned. I even gave them advice like, what are you doing? Like, whatever. I don't think you're going to see some of them back. I don't, you might not see any of them back. That's the only thing that I can tell you. That's my gut feeling. I think that when people like Andy Cohen and those producers lose this kind of money, I think they have a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to say, you know, Rachel, we lost all this money with you. Why are we going to give you another chance? We've asked you several times to please do this or to please do that. You bucked us all the way. Now we lost all this money on the reunion. Why am I going to give you another chance? That would be me.
And also when it borders on dangerous and physical, they really do have to step in because
And they're dug in. And these people, they don't want to make up.
Yeah.
They don't want to make up.
Right. And you never know. It's almost like a warning sign. If they cannot stop, if they cannot control themselves, I don't think Bravo wants to be anywhere around.
I think they have enough lawsuits, Rachel.
Yeah,
they have enough lawsuits, Bravo.
Exactly. Okay, I'd like to get now into your book because I got a copy of it. I thought it was fantastic. I was able to get halfway through and it's actually really, really good, Kim. So
thank you, Rachel.
I'm very proud of you. Everyone should get this book. It's called My Life with the Big Boys. You have some major endorsements in the forewords right now. You have Dolores, Jacqueline, Siggy, Teresa. And then I saw that there was a space for Margaret. Is Margaret not?
Yes, in the back, because I remember I met them later in life. So in the back, I have John Fuda, who wrote something for me, and Margaret wrote like a cute little thing on her, you know, a quote that she feels about me. She feels that my life was much more interesting than Housewives. Okay, my real life. So they put that in. They signed it for me. But the reason why they're not in the forward is because I met them after. Like, you know, they're like towards the end of this book. But this was really something I started years ago while my mother was still alive. And then something happened with the first author. She got very, very sick. Haven't heard from her. I don't even know, God forbid, if she's still around. And then I got the thing happened with David. I met Julie, who does my podcast. She's, you know, part of the podcast. Andrew, who owns the studio, and she happens to be a author and a publisher also. So God brought me to her and we collabed, and this is what we came up with. And I love what she did. What she did was she took my story with what I've been through, okay, and she made it into almost like a women's empowerment, like learn from these mistakes, learn from these relationships, learn what I've learned. I went on Botched, and when you go on Botched, you have to do a 500 questionnaire. And when I went in front of the psychiatrist, he said, I've never seen anything like this. And I said, well, I don't think I'm going to be surprised because I don't feel like I'm like anyone else. My brain, right? He said, you answered every question like a man. You have a man's brain. So I feel when I wrote this book that women should understand how I maneuvered my way through these relationships and things, because I think like a man. So no one was able to get over on me. I saw it through. I had nice relationships that I walked away from because I grew. So I would love to give women advice. I'd love for this book to become almost like, I don't know, you know, like something that a woman could read and say, oh, I went through that and this is what happened afterwards. Like I have another chance at life, or I could be in another relationship and be happier. So, you know, that's really, and what got me how I was raised and what gave me the balls to act like this and to not care what people think.
Yeah.
And say what I feel. People never understood that and they didn't know anything about me. So I really wanted to put it out there. It wasn't just boasting about things. It was really, honestly, I do give my friends a lot of advice. They do look up to me, even like Teresa, you know, she always, so I hope I help people with it. I think they'll have fun.
So it really reads like an anthology of the most influential people in your life. And what really stands out to me is like, you know, you see a lot of these reality stars who have come into our lives because they've been on the screen, and you kind of don't know the reality behind them, but you know the reality of what you see on TV. You really strike me as somebody who has been authentic through it all and have a real connection to people in your life, to things. It's not like you're creating a storyline ever for a circumstance to be part of it. You know what I mean? To
Yes.
be part of the
Yes.
community. And I think that really reads true. I found it, it kind of almost brought me to tears. I'll tell you, when in your book you said, what I wanted to be when I was a little girl was not like a wife. I just
That's
wanted
right.
to be a wife. And I thought that
That's
was,
right.
it's making me cry. It
Yeah.
made me feel very connected to you because it was a very vulnerable statement that you made.
Yeah.
And to see that you're not someone's wife right now, but you're
No.
so powerful and
Thank
all the
you.
things you've gotten through, and you talk about all the different men in your life and how you've lost, you really know grief, sadness.
Yes.
How do you get through, your life with the grief that you've been through?
Okay. That is so important. That's such an important question because a lot of my people that follow me, they come to me on my DMs and they're like, you have no idea how you changed my life. I'm like, and this is before the book. I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, when you talked about the fact that your whoever passed away, mother, father, fiance, boyfriend, they want you to be happy. They want you to celebrate Christmas. They want you to celebrate the holiday. They would never want you to be miserable and be upset. That's not what they would want. Now you have an angel on your shoulder. Now you have someone. I don't believe anyone ever leaves you. Okay. So that's my thought. And that's what I believe. I light my lavender candle every day. I believe my mother's in my house everywhere. I believe that she is ecstatic over the book. When we were doing the photo shoot, I sent a video to Dolores. And Dolores goes, Kim, I can't believe this. I go, she goes, your mother's face was on the video. It was my body with my mother's face. Dolores loved my mother. And one of the girls that was here with me, she's kind of like a little psychic. And she goes, oh my God, Kim, your mother's here. And I believe that. See, I believe it with no thoughts at all. I believe it. So what I tell people is celebrate, even though listen, you're devastated. You're devastated. The grief comes and it goes. My grief comes and it goes. I could be sitting watching a commercial and I start bawling. Then other things can happen and my Christmas comes, I'm happy, whatever. Grief has its moments, but I believe the people that have passed want you to be happy. So with that said, one of my people that follow me, she said, my father or my mother had just died. I don't remember which one it was. And she said, we weren't going to celebrate Christmas. We were not. When I saw what you said on your podcast, I invited everyone, my whole family to my house, and we celebrated Christmas. Now that makes me cry. That makes me cry because I'm like, I can't believe I affected someone that way. So that's what I believe. So when you believe that death is not an ending and you can get past that, it's never easier, but it's kind of easier. I talk to my mother. I talk to Michael all the time. My lights are blinking. I'm like, all right, enough, Michael. The lights go out. I have had floods. I'm like, because they come through electricity. I talk to them like they're here.
Right.
And I can feel them. I can feel them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they ever left me. Those are the two most, like my father, not so much. I was very close, but it's my mother and Michael. We were like, the bonds were really, really there. And I just still believe they're here. I think that's why I've been single for 11 years. Because I believe like one of the psychics said, Michael's still in your bed. Like nobody else is going to make your bed because he's still there. It's wild. It's a wild feeling.
Like you're almost in love with the ghost still a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's very true what you said about kind of seeing the signs and letting those signs in, but being able to be present in the moment and live your life. I recently told a story on my podcast, and so I won't get into it again, but how my life was affected. Obviously, I think, I lost my fiance in the World Trade Center.
Terrible.
And then also I lost my father when I was 15. He was only 44 to a cocaine overdose, all of a sudden. And I was in boarding school and my headmaster had to tell me. And, when you go through those things and you lose men in your life, it makes you very strong. It makes you not trust that people are going to stay. It makes you almost too strong for your own good.
I agree.
And I spent many years living in the what if. What would it have been like if they were still here? That I was missing out, that they were missing out. But once something happens and you're able to say they lived their life to the fullest and the life they were supposed to live, and I'm the one living, and I cannot live like I died too, and live
I agree.
and so it's so important for people that are really going through grief. You got to get up. You got to get out the
Yes.
door. You got to get dressed. And it doesn't mean you love the person any less. It doesn't mean
No.
that, they would be upset that your life is going on
Yes.
without them. They would be very happy. And I think that that is
Yeah.
great
And you
advice.
know what I did tell my people also, when my mother passed, I was okay. And then once I sold her home, I was like a basket case, and I went on Zolo for a couple of months.
Yeah.
I had to. I couldn't get off the chair. My anxiety, it wasn't depression. My anxiety at a whole time high, and I
Mm.
had to function. I like you. I'm a single. My son's 34 years old. That's still not the point. I'm alone paying for my own house, my dogs. So I couldn't go to lay in my bed for 6 months or 3 months and do nothing. So I did. I started a very low dose, and I'm going to tell you, it really helped me a lot. And I'm not here to promote medications or anything, but sometimes that's what you need, that little jolt. Stay
Yeah.
on it as long as you need, whatever. And I needed it. I feel good now. I feel
Yeah.
good. But I couldn't, like, it was the anxiety. It was the panic attacks, the anxiety. That's why I went on it. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with anxiety for a long time, and it just got worse.